You're with India Business Hour and this is CNBC TV 18. Let's get on with our discussion as far as coal is concerned to discuss the impact that a possible deallocation of coal blocks will have on industry. We're now joined by the President of the Confederation of Indian Industry, Mr. Godrej. Mr. Godrej, appreciate you joining us. As the President of CII, you've actually issued a statement saying that the government should not cancel the allocation of coal blocks as it will further impact negative business sentiment. But why is industry opposing a cleansing of the system? After all, the 57 blocks allocated to private companies, only one is actually operational. So why shouldn't squatters be penalized?
No, I don't think coal blocks should be cancelled unless agreements have been violated. If agreements have been violated, then whatever is the consequence of such violation should be followed through. But just because there is a CAG report, I don't think the coal blocks should be cancelled. As it is, we are suffering tremendously from the shortage of fuel for power production. Now, I don't know the details of each of these cases, but just because there is a CAG report, I don't think coal blocks should be cancelled.
But Mr. Godrej, even if we were to disregard allegations of financial misrepresentation and corruption purely on performance, is there not merit in the CAG and the opposition's arguments for cancellation? You're talking about coal shortages, but not a single private operator responsible for these blocks has helped bridge the shortfall in any fashion so far.
No, Shireen, you must look at the agreement these companies have signed with the government. If there is violation of any of the agreements, and if there is such action required on such violation, then it should be proceeded according to the case and the law. But just because there is a CAG report, there should not be a cancellation of these coal blocks.
Well, absolutely. We understand that the IMG is going to take a final call as far as possible deallocation is concerned. But Mr. Godrej, I want to talk to you about the land bill which has been referred to the group of ministers. We learned that the Congress president is very upset with this decision. How big a setback is this for industry? Because a lot of large projects have been held up on account of land acquisition.
I think it is very important that we have a land bill passed at the earliest. The reason being that a lot of development activities, whether it's infrastructure or industry, has been held up for want of adequate land. Of course, some states do have land which has been acquired earlier and they are allotting now. But I think generally we need to resolve this problem very soon. It is also very clear that government must get involved in acquiring large tracts of land that are required for infrastructure or industry. It cannot be left only to private acquisition, because there will be a lot of difficulty in practical terms, and as has been provided earlier, government should get involved for large projects, and I think the earlier this matter is resolved, the better. I think the resolution lies in being fair with the farmers from whom land is acquired. At the same time, the development efforts need to be fortified by government acquiring land in a sensible manner.
Okay, let's see what finally comes off the land acquisition bill, whether it will make it to the winter session or not. But Mr. Godrej, big day tomorrow. The GDP number is expected. 5.3 is what the CNBC TV 18 poll is throwing up as the number. When we last spoke, you had said that we have a very small window of opportunity left, given the political logjam and the continued opposition to reforms. Do you believe that window is now closed?
Well, I am a little disappointed that the reform measures are not going forward as anticipated. It is very important. There are two types of reforms that have to take place. One is government decisions. The other is parliamentary decisions. It's very unfortunate that Parliament has not been functioning as it should. I think this kind of an attitude where Parliament is held up because of differences of opinion of the opposition with the government is not good for our democracy. And I think government also needs to take some decisions which do not require parliamentary approval at the earliest. But I was very encouraged by the finance minister's statement on August 6th, where he did mention that the various reforms that are required will be attended to at the earliest. I think there is still time to do it. I do hope the government takes action at the earliest and that Parliament gets back to normality as soon as possible.
Right, but Mr. Godrej, there is no credible roadmap for fiscal consolidation yet. In that context, is the threat of a downgrade real now?
We do face a threat, and I think it's very important that we don't get downgraded. That's another very important reason that the government should act at the earliest. I think Parliament should also ensure that it functions in a normal manner and pending bills are passed at the earliest. I think it's very critical because a downgrade will further complicate our economic situation. The great news, Shireen, is that if we do move forward with reforms, and I'm very glad to see the Finance Minister stating that he would like to implement the GST by April 1st. I think if we move forward, we have the opportunities. India can be back on an 8 to 9% growth path in the next financial year. A downgrade would thus be avoided. So the opportunities are there, the possibilities are there. We need to take action at the earliest. Better late than never.
Unfortunately, Mr. Godrej, there are many ifs and buts as far as that argument is concerned, but appreciate you joining us here on India Business Hour. Thanks very much indeed.
Well, Adi Godrej speaking over there. Now, India has sizable coal reserves.